Hey, Dan here with Sweet Maria's. I'm going to show you how to roast small batches of coffee on our 1 kg roaster, the Aillio Bullet. Not only is this profile super simple, but it can be repeated with fairly consistent results across several roast batches or back-to-back roasting, making it a really great go-to roast profile for someone looking to use the Bullet for sample roasting. For those of you not familiar with that term, sample roasting is a somewhat standardized practice where you're roasting several small batches of coffee to the same light roast level in order to evaluate quality. You're not trying to get the most out of a coffee like when you profile a roast, but instead you're looking to hit that same light roast benchmark in order to evaluate the differences between one from the next without having roast cloud your judgment. Samples from coffee farms and green suppliers tend to be around 200 to 300 grams, and so using a 150 gram batch size for this profile works out really well. If you're looking for a roaster specifically for roasting samples, the Bullet might not be the best option. I mean, it is a 1 kg machine, but the fact that the Bullet can roast everything from 2 pounds of coffee all the way down to 150 grams really makes it stand out on our list. And I think it's really tough to find a roaster that has quite the level of versatility as the Bullet, making it a great option for someone who's looking to start a small roasting business, for example. Sample roasters tend to start in the 4-digit range on up, so this can save you a really hefty expense. Let's go ahead and dive into our 150 gram roast profile. First, I'm going to weigh out my roast batches to 150 grams each, and for this test I roasted 4 batches plus a warm-up batch. I'm going to adjust my presets by hitting the F1 button and toggling through to change my drum setting to D9, power setting to P6, and drop temp to 392 degrees Fahrenheit. At 2 minutes in, I decrease the power setting to P5, and that's my one and only setting change for this whole profile. You should see yellowing around 3 to 3.5 minutes, and you're likely going to hear a couple early snaps about 30 seconds before first crack actually gets underway, so try not to log first crack time too early. I wait for a grouping of snaps like the one you hear here. I wait 2 full minutes before pulling the roast, which generally winds up being around 12% moisture loss. After dropping your roast, start the preheat cycle to bring the roaster down to your initial drop temp by hitting the F1 button. The LED will read BAC, or back, and then hit the PRS button to enter the preheat cycle and close the door of your roaster. Once the roaster has reached the drop temp, go ahead and start your next roast. The first batch should be considered a warm-up, as it's going to take a lot longer to hit the benchmarks than those that follow. You can see here that my overall roast time was more than 1 minute longer than the longest roast from those that followed it. Comparing the 4 back-to-back roasts, you can see that yellowing, first crack, and end times are all really tightly grouped. My third roast appears to have progressed a little faster than the others, but not by much, and is certainly nothing to worry about. And here are my final roasts side by side. See how close in color they all are, and their weight loss is almost spot on between the 4, right around 12% moisture loss. It doesn't have to be this tight to get a good read on a group of coffees, but the Bullet does a really impressive job of tracking the roast profile from one roast batch to the next. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We've linked to more of our Bullet roasting tips in the description below, as well as a more in-depth look at this specific roast profile. Thanks for watching.